It's just a delightful time to see wildlife. Everything's out. Probably the reasons that people are seeing the snakes, as well as many other things, this is, we're actually getting out of the spring, we're actually getting into summer now, but this is the time when all these different critters are mating, looking for mates, so that the males are out roaming around looking for females. So all the wildlife is moving about, doing things, and so this is a good time to observe wildlife, to appreciate the diversity that's out there. I doubt seriously there's any more snakes than there are any other year. Any kind of critter, insects or birds or whatever, they do have population rises and falls. Since there's all these different snakes and they feed on different things, I can't imagine that all the species are increasing at the same time. So I think it's just happenstance that somebody or maybe several people have seen more snakes than what they normally saw, and so all of a sudden there's, I don't know, there seems to be a lot of interest in that right now. The number one most common snake that we get calls about, and I tell a lot of groups this, if I just picked up the phone every time they said, oh, you've got a snake call, if I just said Texas rat snake, I would be right 99.9% of the time, because they're big, they're nasty snakes, real aggressive, they make a lot of noise, they rattle their tails. Just because a snake rattles his tail doesn't mean it's a rattlesnake. All snakes rattle their tails when they get upset, but the Texas rat snake is the most common one that most people see. If you're in water, probably the yellow-bellied water snake or blotched. We're in the Metroplex area, we're kind of an intergrade between the two species here. We also have a diamondback water snake, which is a huge, big water snake, totally harmless. And then we have a few of the broad-banded water snakes, but those are the common snakes you'll see in a watery situation. First of all, 99% of the time when people say it's a water moccasin, it's usually a water snake. If they're seeing a snake in the water or close to water somewhere, they're usually water snakes. And the easy way to tell the difference, and people laugh at me when I tell them this, is to look at their lips. I do this with a lot of classes. I will hold up a water snake at the front of the class and say, everyone in this class is a safe distance away from this snake, but you can see the little stripes that go from the bottom jaw up to the top jaw. We have like 4 different species of water snakes in this area. They all have the striped lips. The cottonmouth or water moccasin, it's the same snake, has a black mask. It doesn't have the striped lips. The water snakes tend to have eyes that are kind of up on top of their head. You can visibly see them pretty well, whereas the cottonmouth tends to have little scales that kind of hang over the eyes, so you can't see their eyes real well. The chances of people seeing cottonmouths in this area is pretty slim. There's not that many of them around. I used to tell people we've never seen any on our sanctuary. We have huge swamps back here, but a couple years ago I saw one. So they come and go, but the chances of seeing water snakes are much more common. Admire it. That's all you do. You just look and say, wow, what a pretty snake. Leave the snake alone, go around him or whatever. And most people, even people that are deathly afraid of snakes, when they see a copperhead, as venomous as a copperhead is, which it's not deadly, nobody dies from being bit by copperheads, but they're beautiful. Even people that don't like snakes have to admit a copperhead is a very beautiful snake. It's worth stopping and looking at it and admiring it, and then leave it alone. As long as they're leaving them alone, they're going to leave you alone. That's a good thing to have snakes in your yard. Snakes are a very big benefit. They consume a huge number of rodents. They're the most efficient control for rodents. The hawks will eat some, owls will eat some, but the snakes actually go where the mice go, and they get in, and that's why they get in people's houses, because they know the same little holes. And if you find a snake in your house, most probably it's because you got rodents in your house and the snake was just following the scent. So being upset because a rat snake got in your house is silly. That snake's doing you some good. That whole idea of preserving some habitat to save some of this diversity, as we continue to develop and eliminate natural areas, pretty soon there won't be any habitat left, and you'll be very limited as to what actual wildlife species you'll actually be able to see or find, which would be, I think, a real crime.